So for the more geeky people out there, the synth geeks, sorry, I just thought I'd explain the patch that I made for that track you've just listened to, for anybody who's of interest of it. If you're not of interest to it, then don't watch this bit because it'll bore the hell out of you. So this is actually the first jam thing I've done with my new case. So I got the Dreadbox case 168, which is pretty cool because it's got all this stuff built in at the bottom, mixer and LFO and whatever, which is pretty nice. And I've also just recently acquired, which you can just about see down here, it's the 2HP pluck, which I will perhaps do a separate tutorial on it. I've got to say it's plucking brilliant. So that kind of like plucked, the basically arpeggiator sound is coming from the 2HP. So let's just deal firstly with how I'm kind of sequencing the modular and playing the modular, because all the sounds from the track you've just listened to are all just from this modular. So it's been controlled from the Deluge. So if we just go into here, so this track here, yep. So track 1, this is an arpeggiator, and that's what's playing. If I just turn my speakers on, that's what's playing the pluck basically. So if we just play that out, hopefully you can hear that. Just turn it up a little bit. Okay, so it's just arpeggiated just on these 3 or 4 notes. Okay, and then that is going into the, we can change the sounds, etc. on that. So I'm controlling the pluck, if I remember rightly, by the CV and gate from here. So if you go on here, we can see we've got CV, we're sending out on CV1. So I've got CV out cable here, going into the 1 volt per octave on the pluck, and then I've got gate 1 out of here is going into the trigger in on the pluck. So that's basically what's triggering, generating the sound and the pitch information. What I'm then doing, because I wanted to sort of I wanted to use a filter on the pluck, and at the moment I've only got 1 filter on here, and I'm using that for the other part. So what I've done for this one is I've taken the output from the pluck, and that's coming all the way over here, and I'm using the MS-20 filter. So I'm just going into the external input here, and I'm taking the output, going into the external signal thing in there. Now obviously normally to get the sound to work you would need to hold your finger down on a key, which obviously I didn't want to have to do for the whole track. So all I've done is I've taken the mod wheel out and put that into the trigger in, the keyboard trigger in, just there. So then once the mod wheel is turned all the way, whichever way it is, that basically kind of gives you a constant note, so you don't have to hold your key down in there. So the sound will just pass through the MS-20 and I can use the filter for that. The output of the MS-20 is then coming all the way over here. I'm just adding a little bit of reverb. I've got this reverb pedal here just to add a little bit of ambience to it. So the MS-20 is going into the reverb, and then the reverb is going out and then into whatever it is, channel 1 on the MS-20, and the MS-20 we've also got a bit of delay on there, so that's giving me the delay effect. So that's kind of like the sequenced arpeggiator sound. And then the second track was the sort of the bass pad sound that I was playing again off the Deluge. Now I'm controlling the modular, so that's playing this VCO over here. Okay, so it's the Deopfer A1102 basic VCO. So the patch that I've got on there is I've got the sawtooth coming into this mixer. I'm not using any square. I've got a bit of triangle as well, that's coming into this patch here. So they're both around about sort of 3/4 of the volume up. The output of that is then going into this filter. So I was gradually opening, you'll have seen, if you just watched it, you'll have gradually seen me opening the filter on that, so I can demonstrate. So, and then we can open up the filter. Okay, so it's a basic, fairly basic standard patch that. So yeah, we've got the audio from the mixer going into the filter, and then the filter is going out into the VCA over here, and then the output from the VCA is going into this built-in mixer on the case here. So this is my volume dial for this that VCO there. And then in terms of how I'm triggering this, I'm actually doing this via MIDI. So I've got the MIDI output from the Deluge, which is going through a few other bits, but to keep it simple, it's basically going from the Deluge into the MIDI to CV section on the case here. And I'm just transmitting on MIDI channel 3 because it's actually going through the TB03, so it's passing through there, through the MIDI through on that, because that's set at MIDI channel 3. So it's quite useful having CV and gate on here, and also the MIDI to CV on the Dreadbox case, because it means I can control both of these things all from the Deluge, which is pretty nice. So yeah, so all we did then was we just played that got the sequence going, and then I was just playing. Playing the bass pad part over the top. We are in, it's A sharp minor, I think. If you really want to know the key it's in, yes, it was A sharp minor. For anybody, I don't know, I'll let you know that information if anyway. And then yeah, the output, then I'm taking the output from the mixer, which is this cable here, and that is going into channel 2 on the MX1. The MX1 is then my sound card. So that is connected over here through to Ableton Live. So you can see this is the audio I've just recorded. That's my first take where I stuffed it up at the end. That's the take that you will have just watched. And so yeah, just recording it straight into Ableton Live there, and then putting the video into Ableton and just syncing it up with the audio. And then, hey presto, it's on YouTube and you've just watched it. So hopefully that's of interest for the people who wanted to know how I did it, and that kind of explains it. Usual things. If you like it, please like the video, subscribe, share the video around. If you've got any suggestions for future videos, then stick them in the comments box below, and I'd like, let me know what you think of this new track. Thanks a lot for watching. I'll see you on the next one. Cheers.